Aloha. Gaia Sophia Dreaming. Mike here. Thank you all for tuning in with the heart, where we all truly live as one in unity, harmony, and balance. Lokahi. So it's 4 a.m. in the Eire Dreamtime. This Wednesday, where we still use those reference points to mark our day. The moon is still shining bright. You can see your way clearly right now in the night. And it's beautiful, and I'm thankful. So we got Kerrace Alexander tuning in with us here. This kind time. We're going to continue on where we're going to move this conversation, keep moving forward with this conversation in the heart, in aloha. So I got Elvita on the board too. Aloha, Elvita.
Aloha, Michael.
Aloha, Koro. And
aloha, Michael.
Hey, Koro. Hey, Kerrace.
Aloha. Aloha, Cora. You was muted, huh?
Yes, I am.
All right. And I think I hear Kerrace. Hey, Kerrace.
Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha. All righty.
Full power, eh? We're going
to... Yes.
All right. Just sitting with the earth, really just calm. And I'm like, all right, we're going full power now. It's my reminder. Right. It's the word I would say was shanti, shanti. Usually when you say to someone shanti, it's like the meaning of it is it's multidimensional in a way. But it's like relax, cool down, just chill, shanti. But when you say shanti, shanti, it's like it's almost the opposite. It means full power. In that stillness, full on. Where you're not just, you're still in that kind of calm state, but you're moving now. You went from so-called a sitting position to, full-on Shiva Shakti in the dance, flowing it. And it's this staying in staying really where we live and being, as we've been sharing the heart space or here in the core. And what Kerrace has been reminding me, thankfully, is how to keep in that. That's when we're doing that, we're in the flow. We're in tune with the current, our current and the divine current, and we can flow. And the more we be here, the more our currency flows and expresses itself in all ways. Whew. So, hey, Kerrace, I was sharing the day before with Kerrace, and I was just like, wow, just beautiful and empowering for me, and that we would notice where many people talk about the glitch in the matrix or the program, how it kind of intercedes or distorts. But again, bring it back to self. And how am I glitching in a way? How am I hiccuping as I share when I experience this program or limited reality or even the wholeness of all where I don't hiccup? Because sometimes it's not even, it's a bright light, that we say, oh, the bright light, yeah, don't blink, for example. But it's the, when something good comes, we can even pure energy flowing. Sometimes it's too much and we turn away from it. And so this is also part of the accepting and allowing, that we are flowing from this pure, unlimited, boundless energy and divine current. And even in, if we want to call it a limited reality program, that we can express ourselves in prosperity and abundance and opulence, however we choose to be, because we, in a sense, write that script also, and we can override any limiting program because, well, we're not stuck in a limiting program saying that's all you're allowed to run. It's like that's kind of like all of a sudden we've gone back into the bubble and said, but it's limited in here. We can't be boundless. I'm like, that we are boundless. And in some ways, now what we're doing is there is a 3D, in a tense, reality. And it's not just the limiting thought forms and mental construct. So in that way, even in that, where we'll say that program, that false light, that copy, that what's coming to my knowing is quite funnily, that we can truly express ourselves here. That's all here. Because and here isn't just the limiting it's wow. Kerrace seems to share this quite clearly with me. So hey, Kerrace, how's it flowing there? You got the sunrise already up, sun up, and
okay. So Michael, we're just playing here, right?
Yeah, and that's the garden.
So what happened in that moment? In just the moment that you just saying you shifted to me. In that moment, there was the glitch.
Yes, I felt it.
Yes, because because the glitch is the ego aspect of yourself not wanting you to see the truth, not wanting you to experience your own truth. So what you have to do in those moments is just stop for a moment and notice that it's a glitch. You kind of like bring awareness to the fact that it's a glitch. And now it's time to start moving through those glitches, pushing through those glitches. Because when you start pushing through those glitches, then you're going to be able to see more. You're going to have more awareness.
Yes.
Right? And the ego is going to back off. Back off, Jack.
Yeah.
Well, another interesting perspective I heard on this was...
No. Hold on.
Please.
So go back to your other thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what you were talking about?
Yeah, thank you. You're going to hold me to this. Thank you.
so and just because you know what, you're just, it's like getting to the other side. It's like you're used to being where you are, and you're being pushed. We all are being pushed right now. Oh my God. Am I the only one here? Am I the only one here, people? Are we being pushed? Are we being challenged like we've never been challenged before? Yes.
In a beautiful way.
Yes, but it's an unearthing. It's like all this stuff is coming up to be released.
Yes.
It's like a birth. It's like, I don't know if you guys have had children. I haven't had children, but it's like going through a birthing. It's like you're going through birth pangs, and it's not easy.
Right.
It's hard. Right? It's like it's not easy. It's painful at some point. But that's because awareness, or your essence, or whatever you want to call that higher aspect of yourself, is wanting to have a deeper, grander experience. Trust me, that is all that is truly wanting to happen. It's not that this system is wanting to impose pain upon you, but it's wanting you to push through your stuff. So, Michael, hold to that, what you were talking about, and just push through it, and let's see what's on the other side. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Me too, Kerrace. I'm excited too.
Right on, Almeda.
And I'm pushing through.
And I know,
beautiful.
I have this feeling that what's on the so-called other side, I describe it. It's pure, as of pure energy. It's me. It's infinite source creation.
So here, so feel into it. Feel into it, Michael.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's
not going to hurt you.
No, it isn't. And okay, I'll feel into this.
So,
and then
just feel into it. Feel it.
Yes.
Trust it. Surrender.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Surrender.
okay.
Like breathe. Breathe into it.
It's really about sharing myself with no fear.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And why do you think the fear comes up?
To experience this existence deeper.
Instead of?
Well, to have that experience, but not have it be that we keep repeating it forever. It was to have that experience, then, okay, thank you, and be back in total awareness, so to say. So in playing in the garden, in the heart.
Right. So you're playing in the garden right now?
Yeah.
Let's just relax into it.
I know. There's this. Thank you. It's right there. I feel it. It's right here on. You want to say or
so
my chest?
Breathe. So breathe into it.
Yeah, and it's when I breathe into it, it's okay. It's just doing it, eh?
Well, you're safe here. It's safe here for you to do that.
Mm.
It's safe here in this moment as we're sharing here together. It's safe for us to be here in the heart together. It's not so safe when we're out in the world. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Not being in denial about that.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. Hey, I sometimes have my guard up, so to say, but many times I don't. But I think there's maybe a part of me that is not quite, as you would say, open, because there's a part of me that I'm like, you can't just express yourself fully down Main Street, Michael.
You will be able to.
Yeah,
you will be able to. Not right now, because you're still in the process of building your own self.
Right.
Right. You're still. You've got the training wheels on still. We all do.
And it's fun.
You know, it's you see, the difference here is that we're on a different path. Like, let's be honest here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different path. It's not the same path that most of humanity is on. And so it can feel very lonely, and you feel isolated.
And Kerrace, that doesn't mean the other people aren't on a so-called higher path. They're just choosing to have a different experience. So like that, I don't think anyone's lesser than me or behind me, so to say. When I tune into really right here, it's just that they're choosing to have a different experience than me, and maybe they didn't go. You see what I'm saying?
I never said anything about being lesser than.
I know that's
the ego that gets in the way. You see.
Yeah.
You see how the ego says, "Oh, well, you can't do something different. You got to do what everybody else is doing. You got to go into stay in that consensus reality. Come on,
right,
Michael."
But then it's the idea that what is everyone else doing? They're each doing their unique thing also. So it's great.
Who cares? At this point, you cannot worry about what other people are doing. All you can do is worry about what you are doing. And you are on a different path. The people on this call are on a different path. You have to honor that. Mm-hmm. You are on the vanguard. You are on the leading edge. Everyone on this call and everyone who's listening and will be listening in the future. This is leading edge. It's leading edge in terms of our 3D current experience, because we've grown up into an environment which is the antithesis of what we're doing now. We are choosing, if humanity is not. They still want the old system, the old paradigm, to take care of them. And that's okay. They can do that. But I'm not choosing that anymore. I'm not choosing that someone else defines my reality for me, that chooses how I am to be in this world.
Right.
Right? I'm evolving out of this world as you are evolving, as everyone else on this call is evolving. And there are other people evolving out of this system and still being within the system. So it's like learning to dance, learning a new dance. We're learning to dance in a new way, to be in this world, but not of this world. We don't have to. We can do that now.
Yeah. So, like where you said, where our garden extends to the whole world.
Well,
wherever you go. Wherever you go, you take the weather with you.
Well, here's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what everyone else is doing because you're on a path, and when you're on a path that is on the leading edge, that is on the forefront of where humanity is to be, or what is humanity is to become, and by the very act of you engaging your own metamorphosis, your own process, you are paving the way for others to follow.
Yes. So it's open.
If you keep worrying about everybody else and what they're doing, then you're not leading the way, are you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Exactly.
You're not able to, because people need examples. You need to be the example. You have it within you, and everyone on this call has it within them to be the example for others to follow. Hey, here's a new way. Here's a new way of being. Here's a new way of experiencing life in the truth and the power of who you are.
Yep.
Right? Come over here. Come hang out with us. We're having fun over here. We're not having no program. We're having fun over here. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This is
right on.
Right on. So we're here.
So it's okay. So let them be where they are.
And it's okay.
And you be the example. Yeah, you be the example. See, we're in a very much a transitory period right now, where we're in the old paradigm, and then we're also experiencing something grander and newer, which is really who we are. And so when you're in this transitory period, it's like, I don't know what to do. I need other people here with me. I feel so isolated. I feel so alone. I have no frame of reference.
Right. And that's part of the trip, to even embrace that aloneness, because then you realize you can't. It's a kind of oxymoron that you can't be alone.
Well, you aren't, but the thing is, we've grown up into a system where we've done everything everyone else has done. So it feels comfortable to be in that consensus reality and being reassured by the system and the program that we are on the right path. But now we're doing something completely different. We're not doing what the system is imposed upon us. We're doing something different, so it feels kind of lonely. And yet there are lots of people around the world who are doing this.
Oh, yeah. It's
small pockets.
Right. It's getting more, it's just resonating more and more in the heart. And it's not, and like I said, part of this experiencing aloneness, if people want to talk about ascension and whatnot, it comes with that. It's part of the fear that you needed to dissolve in yourself to really live in the heart and live here in aloha, we say, with your true divine nature. And so it isn't like you've done something wrong or why is this now in my way? It's not. It's just part of the experience you go through to clear to really come into being here. And one of the things ways I want to experience and express myself is through that, true flow of my energy, like we were sharing. Don't be fearful of expressing myself, and in different ways, which is now part of my thing is if I here's the fear. It's when we give something to someone, somebody's like, where did you get that from? Now, generally, you could say I got the bananas from my neighbors. I got this from there. Well, and then in a way, source. I can always bring it back to source. But when we came into this, hold on a second. When we now talk about money, it becomes almost, here comes the taboos. Some people can talk about it. Others, you can't say anything. Don't talk to me. It's too personal. You know, all different ways we've experienced, and I met people from, you know, all different areas here that, and asked these, you know, probed in a way, like to see, hey, okay, what can we talk about with some people, and what was so-called taboo for others? And many of those was money. It was like people would like, oh, it's private. You don't talk about it. Wouldn't even talk, just you don't go there with so many people. And I was just like, why is that so? And so I flipped it and looked at the inverse, and it was just like, okay, Michael, you don't have to go around telling everyone everything about you. I mean, like, seriously, every economic plan I've had, I was just sharing it in the unemployment office the day before. I said, here's one of my old ones, $25 minimum wage an hour, and then comparatively, anyways, it's an old one, so I ain't going there. But just to laugh at how, you know, I'm like, you want to see how much fun we could have here with these old numbers also? And I'm like, okay, let's push that aside for a moment, because where I'm really getting at, and what I was getting at with that, was really knowing that we can live there's no limits here. And we can live together with no limits, even so-called economically. And so, as I described this, when I would, and here's the ego, how other people are now thinking of, like, where did you get the money, Mike? How did you get this? And I'm not thinking the government or whoever might be, you know, wanting their share, like, oh, we got to watch out. No, I mean friends, family, that would go, oh, Mike. And now what I learned through this is almost silence, because I've said it enough that, hey, man, it's happening. And so, but this is the glitch for me that I've tried to express. And it's in this feeling that, and I'm losing this feeling in terms of, it doesn't matter for me. No one's going to ask me, where did I get the money, Mike? Because, like you said, we're on in a way, leading edge where we are creating this reality. So why would I bring in that old paradigm where I'd be playing that ego game in a way, when we're, well, man, part of getting to this being like this is you leave that behind. But I can see the tentacles, the residue still sticking to me as I'm, you know, flowing in this pure energy, in this divine source creation here, which we all are, and really knowing how, you know, you could, man, I share it jokingly, how we do work with the energy. We always are. We're always transforming, transmuting, bringing into being, experiencing this divine creation and co-creating with it. That when we share this expression, that we know there's no limits to what we can create, but is there a limit to what we can receive? And that is seemed to be part of the glitch, where, and it's definitely interconnected with the giving. So where the giving and the receiving, it's just a smooth flow of how you're, in a way, circling or spiraling your energy. And as you've been reminding me, Kerrace, if you're thinking too much of how the other people are going to react to it, you're going to not really flow in it. Or if you're thinking how other people, how much they think about this, you're not really flowing in it. And for me, I was like, I would call that I was too hyper-conscientious, and I don't mean in a good way, like too sensitive in a way, like, okay, instead of realizing in this pure flow of divine energy in the heart, get out of that fear of how others are going to perceive or react or think about what you're doing. They got their trip. Flow yours, Michael. Flow it. And so that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Yeah, it can be hard because you're, again, on the leading edge. You're on the vanguard of creating something new. But what it really comes down to is your worth. Are you worth making and creating something new in a system that is the antithesis of what it is that you're wanting to create, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, so it all comes back to your worth. Am I worthy? Am I worthy of having more of my currency flowing through me, more of my energy flowing through me, as opposed to giving my energy back to the system?
Yes.
The imposition, the false program.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I worth it enough to create something that is of my own, that is of my own making, of my own choosing, that is a reflection of my currency? Am I in, that you have to come to the knowing and truth that you do have the right to create through your own currency a currency system that reflects and is more in alignment with who you are. So we could have thousands and millions of different currency systems flowing here. It doesn't have to be just one. We're only immersed really in one system, which has multiple ways of flowing that currency through it. Could you ever imagine everyone having their own currency system? Yes. What a concept.
Yes, I can, because that's what it is. It's all made up of the same divine pure energy and through your unique expression. So we do. And that's why I say it's free and it's shared. And that's how that one truly flows. And that's what's here for us. And we're transitioning in a way into this.
On your own behalf, to create something and experiment with your own current.
That's where the dilemma has been for me, because I was like, I didn't want to create in so-called the old paradigm before. Now I didn't. And now I'm like, that old paradigm is gone, and even though we're still, for me, living out some of the old remnants of it, I'm like, well, all right, let's have fun with it while it's still here. It's my charge now, where before I thought I'd be charging the old paradigm where it would loop more in my reality, where now I know when I go, the more I go into it, it's actually dissolving it, because it's coming from I'm owning it. This is my energy. I'm not in that old system of limitation, where it's that where you think you're in someone else's world and you're getting depleted in a way. Device.
But remember I said yesterday that what did you need to do?
Look for the glitch.
But become like you were talking about money, right, in the old system. Because we're still in the old system. So we have to use money in the system. So, you have to become very intimate with your currency in the old system. Right?
Love it.
Yes, it has to become your lover. Yes, your lover. You were saying. I could use a relationship right now. And I said, well, have a relationship, start having an intimate relationship with your money, your currency, because it's all these negative concepts that we have about money that keeps us from gathering more of that currency. Because you deserve that currency in this system is a mirror reflection of our current.
Right.
Right?
So
we have to come to realize that.
Yes. So in that clarity you just sharing here. So yes, the more I love me, the more that expression of me that mirrors me, which is money, I'm flowing it. I'm really, and just let's get that. That's the divine simplicity, beautifully expressed, and let's share that one again. So, Kerrace, how are we saying this quite simply? Because really, this is the foundation.
How you push on it.
When
you
we
push on that one.
When we recognize that this is our energy, each unique, and it isn't whatever government you think printed it, or not government, whatever bank or Fed Reserve printed this money or is in charge of these zeros and one, whatever you think. What we're really getting at is whatever it may be, and we're talking about money here at the moment, it's a reflection of you. So in a sense, that money is your expression. It's in a way, it's how do I say it? Sub converting or sub something. It's like, oh, we used to be using it for that. Now we're taking it and using it for this, right? Oh, that energy used to, fuel the old paradigm. Now that same substance, we are using it to flow on unlimited divine source creation with it. And I'm like, wow, isn't that amazing? Beautiful. Because now I know, because that money is a reflection of me, and not in this old fear-based, where my ego gets in the way, reality. And so, okay,
exactly.
Here we are. And now this is where the glitch comes in, because then I'm like, all right, now expressing ourselves with this, where, as you were sharing and Colleen has been sharing, you honor it, you love it, it's you. It's not, you're not looking at it as money anymore. It's you. And you could do this with anything you're sharing with anyone. And you say, Mike, what do you mean? You're going to buy stuff. Anything you're sharing with anyone. Because that's what now this energy is. You're sharing your energy.
Exactly.
No matter what transaction you do, you're sharing your energy. And one of the ways why I think our focus has been here is for us to truly do it with this example of our currency, which is money. We do it in all sorts of other ways, and we even do it with money in small ways and sometimes big ways, to have this reminder that we can do it with this also, because, hey, it's me. It's a representation of me. It's not a representation of the Crown Corporation, actually. It's a representation of our divine current.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, I've always felt this way, and then I had to deal with all these fears telling me it was not this way, and you can't do this and whatnot. And now that I've come right to it again, I'm like, I mean, look at those fears. I'm like, they're of my own making anyways. Not so much I own them, because even if somebody was whispering my ear, I listened. So I'll own that. That as we come to this clear, I'm like a kid again, playing in the heart. Because this is where some people would say, oh, their ego. And I'm like, many times it's not your ego. When we talk about tuning into your inner child, getting into your, that child within you, like we're sharing, playing here in the garden, what it is in a way, we've been ignoring our true divine nature. And in that, some of the things we were doing, like playing in that limiting system, oh man, I got to get this out clearer. So let me just continue on with the other vein here. But there's something intimately connected with how we would blame something else from limiting us, when actually it was our own self saying, hey man, you're not, what are you doing? you know. So why are we having these hardships is not because the system's crashing, is because literally your heart's telling you, man, get back in here.
Mhm.
Play with me. So when we see a little kid saying, play with me, Dad, and we think, what's wrong with him? It's actually nothing. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, and that's our own heart saying, play with me, and we're denying it. And so, and then people would say, Michael, you can't, you know, again, here's the voice in my head, and it's like, you gotta, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I can do those things and still keep this flowing. And so in keeping this alive and flowing, I realized, oh, wow, I'm so glad. Thank you, nature. And all. So fear is gone here. Pressing our true, this divine current in all shapes, manners, and forms. And through this money that we've all tend to be focused on, I'm like, it's an economic, yeah, so okay, you want us to look at it one more time, that what is it that we can do with this to, in a way, bring us into this, what I describe, where it's freedom. There's no more money because there's no more fear. You're not living in a dualistic mindset anymore. And with that, no longer living in a dualistic mindset, this is what really, sometimes I read, you know, kind of some of the stuff that's still posted. I'm like, do you realize, how can you talk unity? How can you talk no longer living in a dualistic world and then still talk about money? I'm like, wow, how do you talk about currency? There's going to be a new currency system. I said, if we're no longer living in, running a dualistic mind program of separation, how would we then have a economic system of currency exchange? I'm just like, wow, what scam are you pulling now? Because it's free. Or you haven't listened to the new reality, which is, why would we ever charge another human being for, or anybody, anything, for anything, when you know that you got it from divine source through nature, and whatever anyone else is getting is through divine source through nature, and you're sharing your unique expression of this, right? And someone else is sharing their unique expression back forward with to you. Why would there need to be now as I share, a give and take, a barter? It's a free flow, actually. It's a sharing. This is a true, because it'd be like I said before, charging your mother. And some people do this. It'd be like charging your mother for something she gave you when you were younger. Oh, Mom, you need this? Yeah, give me $20. It's like, what the? So this is what we're doing on a more, group, to a whole large scale, to the world, to the so-called, the galactic whatever is doing it, like I don't know what so-called high-ordered plans they got, but all that, I'm not even going to say the names of these so-called what new economic systems. Man, you know why they haven't rolled out? Because they haven't talked to me, who says this is the one and I ain't budging from it. I ain't playing that other bullshit.
Okay, Michael. So here's the thing. This is the one. You're talking. Okay, you're talking. I want to change. I want to replace the old paradigm with my paradigm. What I'm suggesting here is that you take your, because that's a big undertaking. So when we take, I'm sure you could probably do it, and I'm not joking here. I'm sure you probably can do it, right? Because that's where you're moving towards. But why don't you start with baby steps? Yes. Right? Start with baby steps. So start with yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
Right?
And
don't
showing myself. Yes.
Don't worry about taking your whole currency program and changing the whole world. That's the higher order of what you are moving towards, but you're not there yet. So take baby steps.
All right. So
don't
these baby steps.
Don't put barriers in your way, right?
Right.
Right. Let's not put obstacles in your way. Because you know what? The higher order and the totality of who you are in your full expansive self, that you are moving towards, that you're currently not experiencing, but you are moving towards, has the vision and holds the vision that you can make a currency system to replace the current system. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. You know the higher order, the capacity that you have as a universal being. Well, you're beyond the universe, but as a universal being,
what we can do.
You have that power. You have that capacity to do that. And I'm totally with you. But you need to take baby steps to get there.
Yeah, and which is, in a way, these baby steps are for, I want to say, practicing self. For me,
exactly.
Doing
so
it.
How can you take your idea of replacing the currency system, the currency system within our third-dimensional construct, reality, how can you take that concept and distill it down and do it within yourself? How can you build that within yourself so that it becomes a part of your architecture, it becomes a part of your foundation, so that it exudes within you. And then as it exudes within you and it exudes within your being, that's how the power starts wielding within you, that you can transform this physical dimensional currency system. But you use your current to do it, right? So you have to build, distill your vision and do it on a micro level within yourself. Right. You must become the new paradigm of the currency system, and then that will the transfiguration will personify itself in physical dimension. Mm-hmm. That's what some would call magic. No, that's true power. That is you commanding and demanding that this be the system in which you operate, and that you are no longer allowing for the old paradigm to use your currency for its fuel as a fuel source, to use your currency as a fuel source for the old paradigm. That's the flow right now. Right. That's the imposition. But no, you need to take that grand picture of what you have, the vision of what you hold within yourself of a new paradigm, a new construct for the third dimensional reality, and on a micro level, start being that new paradigm. Yes. You don't know necessarily how that's going to look. It's going to flower within you. It's going to blossom within you. You must create the soil within you. You must nurture the soil within you. Yeah. So that you can be the very foundation upon which this new currency system manifests itself. But it must manifest itself through you, Michael. Mm-hmm. First. You can't go and say, I want to change the system and try to do it externally. No, you change the system by doing it internally. Right. Yes. And that's the beauty of that is when I look at it, it's easy. It's easier. It's easier. Easier. And you know what? And you don't know how it's going to unfold. That's the learning to be in the mystery and the magic of what unfolds within you. You know, I can only tell you that from my own experience that the way I experience money now is a direct reflection of the fact that I know the truth of who I am, and that my currency, any currency that I get within this system of consciousness, that is money, that is a reflection of money, it must reflect that which I am. It must reflect the opulence and abundance of which I experience in the totality of who I am, must be reflected in the monetary currency in which we use within this system. That is the law. That is law. And I know the truth of that now. So I don't see money as more valuable than me. in this system. I am more valuable than the money in this system. And see, that's where most of humanity has it switched around, whereas they see that the money as more valuable than they are because they have to go out and work for it, because they have to, you know, and then they can only use what they get in order to and spend what they get. So that's a constant reflection of their value. But no, the monetary system is a manipulation. We have to see that it is actually a reflection of that which we are. But it has not any more value than who we are. We are more valuable as in the truth of who we are than this money. It's paper. Come on, people. It's paper.
Yes. Yes.
No,
the value of paper. Oh my God!
Even if,
what a mind trip!
Even if
what
they
a
say,
mind trip.
I know. Even when they say it's going to go back and be backed up by gold and it will have some value again, I'm like, it's the same BS.
That's all a manipulation. But it's paper. It's paper. It comes from trees. They make it up.
Oh, wow.
And it's a reflection of you, because where do the trees come from? They come from you. Like everything that you see and experience in this physical world, it comes from you, your essence. So it's like it's a springing forth of your value, right? And so when I said to you yesterday, Michael, I said to you, why do you think that all the stuff that's happening on this physical world is happening right now? That we are, you know, why do you think that all this stuff is happening at a higher level? And I can't. And that's where you got into the glitch. So can you get through it now? What? Why do you think?
And it's definitely, and that's for sure.
Oh, man, this is such a. It sounds so simple. It's such a deep question.
You keep missing it, though. I've given you the answer, 3 or 4 times already?
At least that many, man. After I said it first, you know, well, not first, but I had reminded myself, and you're like listening, of course, and like, and then repeated it back to me 3 or 4 times until like, I know. And then I have repeated it back.
So what is it?
It's again, it comes to me and expressing my unlimited, boundless self. And without getting too descriptive here, it goes back to that fear I shared earlier, a fear of expressing the totality of me. And in that, I would then flip the script on the projected reality, like this 3D limiting construct we play with, and there's the glitch. And I'm like,
so you're
here
missing
it is.
It again. You're missing it again. So I'm gonna put. But the thing is, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But we're bringing awareness to what it is. So you're right. This your currency. The reason why everything that is happening on this physical world right now is because they do not want you to know about your real currency.
So everything we are animating
flows through you.
Yes. So everything that we are seeing, the energy that is charging it isn't from like the sun or an external thing. It's literally from your co-creative connection with Source and all that is. So like that, the energy that is actually lighting Michael's world is Michael. The energy that's lighting Kerrace's world is through Kerrace. So like that, the system has been masking us that all this energy is from an external source, whether it's the sun, the banks, or whatever bullshit. That's what it does. It masks that we are actually our currency is giving life to everything.
So everything that's happening on the physical world right now is to keep us distracted from what you just talked about. keep us distracted from our own current, our own currency, because they don't want us to come to the knowing and the truth that money is simply a reflection of our own currency. Because when we do, then we start taking back our current and our power, and we will not give our current and power to this system anymore. We'll start creating on our own, which we're starting to do, and we'll start creating our own reality.
Right.
That's why the system is going down.
Right.
Because they don't want to let go.
Right. And here's how I see it. So as I realize that we're basically 7 or 8 billion suns here, sources. Like we always think, God, there's the source, there's the galactic center, and as I've been saying, we're all in the core. So in a sense, we're all has this divine spark, as some say. We all are this sun, like the power of the sun, the soul, the divine energy. And so it's really, as we say, there's that many realities. So we're each powering our own reality here as we share in the oneness as we share that. So it's really, we're each our own power plant. As I'm saying, we each, we're all the central sun in terms of that. So we're each our own power source. And with that, there ain't just one reality. We each live in our own reality, and we are sharing with everyone else's. So where we talk about one system and all of that, that was the inverse relation where when we went into that limit, when we run that limiting construct program, we then forget that we each have our own one, which is
beautiful.
And like that, I look at the so-called world or everything, I'm like, wow, this is... So I'm not looking at where anyone's limiting. I'm like, wow, everyone's doing this. Whether they're aware, as you bring us back to, their greater being, so to say, is definitely aware.
It's a lower self that's not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so as we tune in the heart, we know that tunes in their lower self. And then as I've tuned in with the heart, they're like, Mike, we're still choosing to do this. It's okay. I'm like, oh, all right, okay. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're trying to, like, wake somebody up, so to say, and they're like, don't wake me up. It's time for school. There's no more school, Michael. Shut up. So it's okay.
Yeah, you have to leave them alone. Leave those people alone. They'll just drain your energy. Yeah, you don't worry about them. But you know what I like to, I don't know, for some reason I'm just getting that. I know that people on this call right now have something to share. So so we just open it up a little bit to see what's flowing and how people are.
Yeah. Hey, Cora's mic's open. She's in Alvita here. Let me see what else. I think.
Hi. Thank you for that. Transmission and sharing about, I guess what's coming to mind to me is and I'm going to just speak from my reality now, I never ever stop learning that I can learn from others. I'm starting to realize that this term that used to be used when I regularly attended this 12-step program, where they would say, take what you need and leave the rest. I used to be one that would try to take it all, and when I'm trying to take all of what's going on in this reality, like we shared, the information constipation deal. That's where I would lose myself. I would lose my truth. I would lose my identity. But as long as I'm taking those bits and pieces that match my frequency, I'm on the path. I'm on the path. So usually it helps for me to hear the whole radio transmission, and then I can kind of come up with a topic. But at this moment, that's what's coming to mind for me, is that if I'm always just taking everything, it's information overload, even when it's good stuff, because it's still coming from someone else's concept and not mine. I'm one of those that has to process things very slowly. It takes time, and then it's like I'm like Lucy. I'm going through, my own processes of okay, and then I have to pull from that what matches me at this point in time. And once I'm able to do that and master that, then I'm able to allow that. Love that word, allow that with other people. Because what I've been doing in the past year and a half is trying to just dump it all on everyone, and they've run away. Even my mom ran away. You guys knew the situation with my mom, It was too much information. I'm no longer her daughter at this point because I'm so filled with all this wonderful new information. I'm not her daughter. She didn't even know who I was when I came down there. She needed time to process it. And we're talking about someone who has long time been in her reality of creative art and what have you. But instead, I went down there and just started dumping all this information, dumping all this truth, scared the hell out of her, and she went into the direction of the system. And that's where she is right now. And so that was my biggest teacher and lesson, that we have to go back to, like what Siobhan, I love how he put it, back to third grade. I have to go right back to third grade and learn what I need to learn in delivering my truth to others. And sometimes it's just not saying a damn thing at all. It's just being. They can just pick up your frequency just by me walking around the city with a smile,
Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at now. Like, I'm back in third grade, and it's fun because I'm a kid again with a teddy bear. So anyway, that's all I have to share at this point. I may have something to share later. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So sharing is also a component of learning, because I know for myself, so just as you shared, is it Cora, right?
Yep.
Yes,
Coral.
Yes,
Coral, just as you shared, that sharing brings balance into what you are learning. So always take what resonates with you, take what resonates with you and leave the rest, right? Take parts and bits and pieces and build it into your own and mold it into your own. But also be in the position to share what it is that you are bringing together and molding and configuring for yourself in your own construct of what you're building through your own uniqueness. Being able to share that expression with others also brings balance into that which you are learning, right? Because the voice is very important. The voice actually is a way in which we can express the soul essence, the vibration of that which we are. So that's beautiful. And I love the way that you shared about how you take in information and your awareness about how you operate. That's really nurturing of yourself, how you are able to share with us how you take in information, where you're at in this whole process of what you're experiencing in your world, in your reality, some of the nuances that have transpired for you in your sharing with your mother. This is about you in this moment. You shared your uniqueness of how you are experiencing the higher order and moving into the higher order of who you are on your path. So that's beautiful. Yes.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's unique to you. Yes.
And I love how you shared the birthing process, because this for me is also a birthing process. I too don't have children, and so I've never experienced that, and that's the beauty of mothers out there who have. They know this experience. And it's those of us who have not, and most men who have not experienced the birthing process, but it's like we all get to experience it now. So I love when you say these are exciting times, because now we're all getting to experience it, even if we didn't physically experience it. And I used to just vicariously live through, my siblings and friends who would talk about it, and it was always so painful. This is a little different. You can say it's painful, but it's not a physical pain. It's emotional, mental, adjusting, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Whew. Salvita, is anything you'd like to share?
I just want to say thank you so much, Kerrace, for bringing clarity. I understand you fully. We are the forerunners. We are special. I'm going to say that more than special, because we contain, we are really awoke. A lot of people that I've been listening to, well, not lately, but months ago, I thought they were awakened. Now I know that they're not. So, it's just time to stop listening to people and listen to yourself, But, yeah, thank you so much for the clarity. I understand everything you're saying. And, yeah, we are the forerunners in this show now. We run this thing, We got the information, and we're going to just get stronger and stronger, and sharing makes us come together, and it helps a lot with sharing. So thank you so much for sharing, Coral. That was great. Yes. Love it.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got you, girl. It's time to have fun, time to laugh. The currency, yeah, that is us, our current flow of love, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love that's the direct representation, not even reflection. It's really it's the expression of it is. It's that a lot of people talk about, that unconditional love, and so many times for us it's like, what does that mean? And let's just take off the on and the conditional and just speak love and laughter, no limits, and expressing ourselves, which is the true, which way we can describe it is, having fun in the garden, having fun in nature, having fun again, and it's just that joy we share and celebrate in with ourselves and each other, and just keep it at that. It's like all of a sudden we will, well, what is it? What's, I'm relaxing. What are you doing? Do I have to be so descriptive? And sometimes it was, and I know it in my own analytical way, that trying to work things out to put where it was actually quite more simple. It's just being and doing without, in a sense, thinking about it, or thinking about how this is, I don't know, you just get caught up in the worldly affairs in a way, the drama, how this society is thinking, or how society might react, and that's all going by the wayside. It's like, bye-bye, because it just doesn't resonate in your free-flowing in the heart here. And I love this, and this is so this is what I'm getting at, really simple in how we really are doing some, I'm trying to get at the magical, the mystical, the supernatural that we dream in a way of doing, actually living like that. but where focus has been on something else, generally externalized. And with that externalization, it made us think we were limited being, and we weren't these supernatural beings. And so, as I say, you're actually giving life to all creation in the moment through you. And you're like, nah, no, you actually are. So, with this knowing, like I said, that's natural. Now, when you usually, if you hear that, like, that's some supernatural thing, you're beyond me, and I'm like, no, that's your natural way. That's been kind of masked or covered up through the old system of thinking. And so as we're expressing our energy here, our sharing, just sharing here in the heart and amplifying it out, it's huge, man, it's huge. Now, again, bring it back to self. Because a lot of the times, again, I'm thinking how, okay, the effect it's having, it's flowing, or am I doubting it? Yeah, don't even think about it. It's happening. Know it. So I know that, okay. I don't need to convince others. Do you know that this is happening every time you share in your heart how much good you do for all? So, okay. Now bring it back to self and about how now really bring this home. And to me, it's like paying myself. It comes down to that. How do I pay myself? And it sounds funny, but that's when we put it in terms of this old 3D paradigm. Let's take the word old off of it. When we played in this limited 3D paradigm, it was like, yeah, to be your own boss, to be, your own, whatever the terms we use, self-employed or what are some nicer so-called terms that mean you're just way well off. Anywho, what I'm getting at is, so how do you pay yourself? So in a sense, that's what you're doing. You're creating the money, and then how do you now, through that creation, in a way, extract the money back out, or pay yourself, or receive it, allow the circulation to flow to you. So as we so-called cut out the middleman, cut out the old way, the ways we did it before, in a sense that you saw the ceiling, you saw the limit. So we're like, so how do I pay myself where there's no limits, where there's no middleman getting in the way of this pure flow where it comes back distorted or less than, that it has this energy, still this pure energy flowing. So to really, as we seen when we were a kid, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Felix the cat, he had the magical hat. He could reach his hand into his hat and pull out anything. And this is my dream, that we are doing this anyways, and now let's really bring it on home and our knowing and our experience. Me, I want to live this. I want to live that where I have a magical hat. I know I do. Sometimes it's like it's my pockets. I've reached into my pockets and pulled out all sorts of things. Where one, and I've shared, where I'd go out with nothing in my pockets in the day and I'd come home with all sorts of stuff. And I'd be like, wow, yes, to be reminded of this, to experience this. And now here I am, again, tuning into this, what I call my heart, and to the core. And it's here for us to recognize, from my perspective, how we're doing it and how we can do it more. And this natural to supernatural, magical, mystical, where it is our existence. It's not out of our existence. It's not some other experience. It is our experience, because in a way it is all divine and supernatural. We're supernatural beings living an ordinary existence. We don't have to anymore. Just our natural expression is wonderful, without having to live up to any social, societal ideals or ways. Just being ourselves. And as I've been trying to see in one way, for me, because it comes, I could, in a sense, say, just let it go. Like, don't bother yourself with this. And in a sense, I have. And then it was put back on my plate. And I was just like, man, can I just not do this? I can just, I don't need much. But for what you're going to do, Mike, you need a little bit more. And it's you anyway, so it's no big deal. Okay. So, I like this, because the reminder is, Mike, it's fun. And that was always my thing. How are you going to get money, Mike? You got to work for it. I'm like, man, why did that just seem so almost opposite than what I'm really wanting to express? When I want to express my divine currency, it isn't because of work, it's because I'm having fun. And we always put work in there. My work is fun. My work is me, living. That's my work. Being me is my work. It's my living. It's so and so I pay me. So if that's my work, and I'm infinite, I'm more than I'm worthy of all of it, because it is me. So like this, how we now flow this so-called currency back to ourselves. That's the old language. How we allow ourselves to receive, in a way, this transforming of energy from, in a way, it's still pure energy, but it takes the form of whether it's a banana, money, a smile, an aloha. And that's where I really feel we're at, because in many ways, being on the leading edge, I laugh because there's a secret here. When we do it, everyone will remember how to do it. In a sense that it's that simple. It ain't a complicated matter that we're getting at, because we've taken the complication out of it. And in this, knowing where I am, I'm like, hey, wow, check this out. You don't have to read that big-ass, thick-ass book. Here it is in a nutshell. Just like that oak tree was contained in a little seed and is now this big, magnificent thing. It's the same with us, in a sense that you have all this you ready to bloom into being. And the flow that's for me in this experience that we're having is to see this expression where money is involved. And so as money is involved, whether I want to so-called buy some property or something, so be it, because it's me. So I'm no longer at effect to this limited reality. It now becomes my creation.
You're the cause.
Yes.
And the effect.
Yes. So there's a glitch, I would call it, Kerrace, from going from my left hand to my right hand. Making pure energy into something that I can use, which some people call, Mike, you're talking instant manifestation. Yeah, I am. Like Felix the Cat pulling anything out of his hat. That's each and every one of us. We're doing it in so many ways, and now and whether we realize it or not, we're doing it. Whether you created a job to get money, you're doing it. Just a limiting way. And I'm like, how do we do it without that limiting way? And we do this. And coming into that knowing, awareness of how we actually do it, and then how we actually can pull anything out of our magical hat, which is how we are co-creating our reality. And to be fully aware of it.
So I know from my own experience that as I have been able to acquire more of my individuated currency and I am expressing as awareness outside of this universe, outside of this solar system, outside of this earth, that I see and experience this physical world as if I'm looking through a television screen or a telescope. And so when I speak about molding and shaping my reality, I know and experience the wisdom that arises within me is the knowing and truth that we live and express in a thought universe. And we use the mind, the thought, and the thought process, which are not ours, and this biological vehicle, which is not ours either, to experience this physical dimension. That is the awareness that is you, the higher order, the totality of who and what you are as awareness, or essence, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, that is expressing itself through you or through me. I know that I have the capacity to experience my metamorphosis and my manifestation through this biological vehicle with the mind, the thought, and the thought process. So I live in a thought universe, and so what has happened is that this wisdom, this knowledge, this inner gnosis has turned on within me. It's this higher level genetic coding has switched on within me. And so I know that the truth of what I'm able to manifest in my physical reality is beyond what I have learned from the system. And so it's an inner knowing and wisdom that gets switched on as you move up into the higher frequency of that which you are. In the low vibratory frequency of our Earth system that we live in, we don't have access to that information. We've been fed a lot of disinformation within this system. And because of the low vibratory frequency that we operate within this system of this third dimensional system that we live in, it doesn't allow for us to access the higher genetic coding. And it hasn't for millennia. But the very secret and how simple it is, Michael, is that, and everyone else on this call, is that the power control force, those that presume to run this world, know the higher order of who you are. They don't have the energetic makeup. They don't have the genetic coding that you and I have, that all of us on this call have, that many that most of the human species has. They have a different genetic coding, and makeup. And they would have to, because they would not be able to do what they are doing if they had the same genetic coding that we have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right?
You're right.
So they could not do that. And so by design, they do not have the same genetic coding, and they don't want to have the same genetic coding as we do. Because if they do, they know that if they were to have the same genetic coding that we had, they would never be able to. They would have to create a new system. They would have to allow for a new system to be created because they could not live with themselves. They could not live under that low vibration anymore. They'd have to ascend with us.
Yes.
They don't want to ascend with us.
You know what they say to that? Well, we've
said
ain't that a fit?
So they are envious. They are jealous of our genetic coding and what the power that we every one of us wields.
That's
so
all
the
right.
time that we are in right now is a time of our own reclaiming our currency, and transforming ourselves through our own metamorphosis, and coming to understand and know the truth of the higher order of who we are as supernatural beings. Because each and every one of us on this call, and anyone who listens at a later time, has a higher vision of themselves.
Yes.
Did y'all hear
you know
that?
What'd
Thank
you say?
you. I said, did y'all hear that?
I'm sure you got it. They're here. They got it.
Right. So there is a higher vision, and it supersedes that which we are experiencing of ourselves in this physical dimension. What we experience of ourselves in this physical dimension is so minuscule in comparison to the totality of who and what we are and the power that we wield as superhuman beings to transform this physical world in an instant. We have that capacity. We have. So when you talk about instantaneous manifestation, we have that capacity. See, Michael, you have the knowledge and the knowing. You came in and you know, and you came into your physical 3D experience having that knowledge. I didn't. I've only garnered the knowledge that I'm sharing with you at this high level, and probably in the past 6 months or 3 months even, after 16 years. It's not something that I've always known. It's something that I'm metamorphosizing into, right, through all the work that I have done internally. And it's like this switching on, this coding is switching on. So your coding was switched on a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's just that but and for some of you it hasn't been, and so you have more memory, deeper memories of what you're capable of than I. It's just that I have mine switching on now, right? And I'm living it, and I'm experiencing it, and so I can reflect that back to all of you. But we all have it. We all have it, and we're all at different stages of this knowing. And so with the knowing and the truth that we live in a thought universe, it is that simple. We manifest and create through our thought. Through thought. And although sometimes it seems we haven't bought into that truth because we've been manipulated in this system of consciousness. We've been conned, right? Through this knowledge, through this information, this data stream that causes so much distortion in our third-dimensional reality. But when we bring awareness to the distortion, it dissolves itself. And we are able to see. And we do that when we're moving into the heart. When we're experiencing ourselves in the heart space, we can see things from a different perspective, from a different vantage point. But in all actuality, this higher vision, this higher aspect of yourself is that which is causing a lot of the disturbances in your life, and that we are moving into that higher aspect of yourself is wanting to have a deeper, grander experience in this physical dimension. It's wanting you to live out your higher potential, your highest potential. Imagine that. At this particular time in human history, you have the opportunity to live out your highest potential.
Yes.
And that's what we are moving into. That is the focus and determination that we must have. That no one has a right to deny us of that right. We are moving towards the highest potential that we each are. I've always known, ever since I was a little girl, that there was something big that I was supposed to be doing on this physical plane. It was always something out there on the periphery. And now as I sit here with you in the expression and sharing in my own uniqueness, and as we are all expressing, I know that I am now moving more and more into that position of that higher vision of what it is that I am to do. Do I know exactly what it is? No. Am I trusting? Yes. You sure as hell better believe it. I've worked very hard to get here. And so I am determined. I am living and breathing the expression of the higher order of the totality of who I am, and I am allowing for that expression to experience itself in physical form, because if I deny that allowance, then I'm denying in this physical dimension, and that is the transfiguration. That is the crucifixion. That is, I am dying. I am dying to that physical self, the physical Kerrace, the physical person, and I am being venerated to the higher order in the totality of who and what I am, and I am expressing that higher order through me. And everyone has that right. Everyone has that capacity. Is everyone choosing that at this particular point in time? No. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Because I know that as long as I keep sharing what I'm sharing through my own experience and the glory and totality of who I am, that when others can see more examples of others expressing themselves through their own uniqueness, then that will give them the impetus or feel more comfortable to do it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And for those that are doing it, it just allows us to feel more comfortable that we're on the right path.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yes, we create.
Experience.
Yes, so we create. It's our opportunity to create through our own currency, through our own expression, using the thought and the thought process, again, which are not ours, but we use them to create, because they're being used in the physical world to create this physical world system without people consciously knowing it. And so now we're taking back our power, and we're saying, no, we're not allowing this system to use our thought and thought process and our currency to create a system that is not in alignment with the truth of who we are. We are saying no to that system and saying yes to our own reality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are creating a reality of our own choosing and our own making. This is not some woo-woo out there fantasy that I'm expressing. This is very real. This is the real deal, people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it may seem out there, but it's like, it's the real deal. It's something new. It's something new. It's something different.
It's a fundamental, like I said, this is the core. This is the fundamental, getting to the base of who and what you are in a way, and owning your reality, being responsible for your existence. And might sound like, for some, when they maybe hear these words, and even myself in some moments, like, what does that exactly mean, or what are you really getting at by sharing this? It's that what Kerrace is really bringing home here is when you're doing this anyways. And so when you recognize it, it's not like, it's almost like you are being responsible for something, but then almost like saying you weren't. It's like you're living your life anyways. So as long as you're giving it out to an outside authority, or someone else is responsible, that someone else is going to take care of me. No, this is how we express it in some external ways, but right at the core of it, all of us naturally own this and are responsible in our co-creatorship. How we say it. We don't give that authority up to anyone in terms of no one else is writing our script. No one else is the author of Kerrace besides Kerrace. No one is the author of Michael besides me. And that goes for each and every one of us in the really heart of it all. So like this, I'm like really here in the foundation, in the base, where we truly flow before it gets, distorted. This is how we are. This is how we truly be. And that's the point where it's really coming clear.
And it's trusting the process that you're undertaking, and know that that who you are going to become, who you are becoming, is nothing in comparison to who you have been. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
yeah,
so beautiful that this, man, like I like to say, it isn't as limited as you thought.
So Michael, why don't you share with us, do you have a sense of the higher vision of who you are?
Yes, in a sense that I am the co-creator of my reality. I am, in a way, I've experienced myself beyond the physical body, and it wasn't like as some said, they left their body and they could see themselves. Mine was kind of I went the other direction, and so it wasn't like I've had many experiences. This is like when you say you tune in, you go into the universe. So it wasn't like I said, I never called it was more of an inner body experience. People always talk about outer body experiences. I always saw it as an inner body experience because that's the way I went in. And as I did this, I tuned into more of me in a way, as you were sharing this biological aspect of myself here, and that in that it was this free-flowing energy that I am, that is interconnected with all living things. And yeah, I'm going to get very nostalgic here in a moment the more I think about it, because it's when people talk about home or they want to go somewhere, I realize I'm here. And one of the reasons I'm here, in a sense, is to really bring that into being here. Because here, the way I, kind of the program I received was, this isn't where you're supposed to be. You just came here to die. You came here to live and die, and then you're going to go someplace else. Or if you believe in reincarnation, you're going to repeat this. Even though in that model, I was like, how do you repeat that based on that, whatever you're talking scientifically? It just didn't compute in the way I was seeing things in it. And I'll put that aside for the moment. But really getting into how I know, it's just this intimate connection with nature that I've experienced and I experience, and where I've seen where this is what's interesting when you really share. I know I'm probably dancing around what you asked me.
So let's bring it back, because it's because this is where you're like you're sitting on the hot seat now, right? It's like so the higher vision of what it is that you are to bring into this world, right? Mm-hmm. Into this, the higher vision. Who do you see? How do you see yourself? The higher aspect of yourself expressing itself in this physical dimension, and that's for everyone to answer that question for yourself.
So
intimately, because I know everyone has a higher vision on this call and who's listening into the archives of higher vision of the self.
So I'll share you some of the things I'll do. So if this helps, when higher visions of stuff, like things I would do here, and just the way I would express myself through loving and laughter and joy, which is teleporting, flying, which is in other ways I would be staying wherever I feel like staying, if it's a 5-star resort or a hammock up in a banyan tree. I'd be experiencing myself without any limits on my reality in the terms of what I can do or cannot do. There's nothing that would be where I would want to, at least, if I wanted to experience it, there would be no limits in terms of having the currency to so-called afford it or experience it.
Right. So you talk about, what I'm talking about, I'm going to narrow it in a little bit further, is one of the things that you talk about a lot is about a new currency system, replacing the new currency system. That's what I'm talking about. That's the higher vision of what, right? It's about replacing a system that you'd like to design with the current system. I mean, that's just
right. Because
that's the higher vision.
To me,
right? A higher vision of yourself.
Yeah, to me, it gets down to relation, because that's how this economic system that we've
relationships. You said
that's what it gets to. It's relationship.
Okay, right. So you want to do, so I'm just working with you here. So your higher vision of yourself is to develop harmonious relationships, more harmonious relationships.
Yes, with all.
With
in
all.
resonance with the heart.
That's the higher vision that you have with yourself.
Yes.
So you have to start doing that now in your life.
Oh yeah, that's
more.
Treat each and every moment.
You have to focus on that. You have to focus on that, and you have to push on that. You have to push on that within yourself, because everything else will fall into line. Trust me. I trust yourself.
Yes.
When you move into alignment, so that's the higher order, and it's very abstract. It's a higher order, but it's something that you to develop to be in the highest frequency possible of you being in harmonious relationship to others.
Mhm.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, because we don't experience that here on the physical plane. You see, so that bringing that into the physical dimension would be glorious.
Yes.
That would just and we can do that.
That's what
we just need to be the example. We need to be the example, right? So each and every moment, you're going to have to work now really hard. I'm going to really push on you to work really hard on really working on your relationships.
And part
All
of that
of them.
relationship is to self, and part of that relationship is to self, and really saying, okay, Michael, if you really, in a way, need to love yourself, and that's where money ties into it, because it's, again, a reflection of me. And I want to have a harmonious relationship with me and others. So in this tense, it comes back to responsibility for self. So then how I can even share more harmoniously with others. I want
Beautiful.
to take that.
See how simple that is?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I get that about you, because that's how you're wired. Remember, I talked to you about that in your astrology chart? That, the money thing and developing a new paradigm, a new system, that's not all of our desire to do that. It's how you're wired to do. That's what you're wired to do. It shows up in your astrological chart.
I thought everyone was wired to do that.
No. What? To develop a new currency system to replace the old paradigm? But a higher level, you just came into what that means. It's about developing a more harmonious system of relating to one another at a higher level, placing that with the way that we relate to one another within this system. How about that?
That's what it is.
That's the higher order of what you're talking about.
That's
but
why
the money, the currency causes all the problems in your relationship, right?
Yes. Well, this is what I'm sharing. You got it. This is when I say freedom, I really mean it.
Right? So yeah. So here we just touched on the higher order, and so each and every one of us has a specific gift that we are to bring this physical dimension and transform it through our own individuated uniqueness.
Yeah.
It's really important for us to tap into each and every one of us, and I'm going to have to leave now, but it's really important for each and every one of us to really visualize or really come into that knowing and expression of what is that higher vision? What it is that you're supposed to do? Why is that higher vision showing up for you? And it may seem kind of fuzzy and not concrete enough for you, but it's there. It's there for you to step into now, to explore and just be open to what may unfold there for you, because that's what's happening for me. I was like not wanting to really do that higher vision. I just felt like it's going to be too much responsibility for me. And I was not, I mean, for years, I was like, nah, I'm not going there. No. But now that I've done, there's nothing else for me to do now. So it's like it's a kind of like the last option that's available for me. It's like it's like there's really nowhere else for me to go or do or be or anything. So I'm kind of stuck with it, and I'm okay with it now.
Yeah,
I'm more open because I'm ready. And just know that if you don't feel that you're ready to reach that higher vision of yourself, that higher aspect of yourself, that's okay. You're working towards that. That's the beauty. Allow yourself to be in the magic and the mystery of what's going to unfold as you move into the highest potential of that which you are. That is the ultimate opportunity for humanity at this stage. I thank you so much. I thank you so much for having me here. I do have to move on, though. And
oh, beautiful.
I really enjoyed being with you all, and yes, I hold a vision that we, as the forerunners, continue to lead the way in the path for others, that we can be examples for others to follow, and for others to step into their leadership role at this time.
Yes. Thank you for that clarity.
Thank you, Kerrace. Aloha.
Thank you,
everyone. Bye-bye.
Hello. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Beautiful share here in the heart.
Yes. Wow. I need a nap. Oh, that was great.
Wow. Yeah, I was looking back through some of the transmissions, and I was just like, wow. Kerrace has tuned in with us quite a few times, and I was trying to see how many I was counting. And then I just gave her a call. It just conversations flowing, We just right into it and really getting into it and sharing in the heart. And here we are. You guys thank you for sharing in with the conversation and this is it for me, it's really thankful that we're advancing. We're moving forward in this conversation in the heart with nature. And Kerrace is, recognizing this, and she's here playing with us in this. And people are like, you can't play. We're talking divine play. We're talking, like she says, higher order play.
Yep.
This is because when you're coming with the heart, the energy you're using is love. You play with love. I don't mean you play around with someone in a negative way. I mean you truly play in the heart. Fun, joy, laughter, aloha. And this is us expressing our true divine nature. This is what your inner child wants to do. So if you're not really having fun expressing your true divine nature and things ain't going well for you, you can blame the system. You can blame all sorts of things. You can even blame your ego. But one part of it is, it's your inner child. It's your true divine nature telling you, come on, man, drop all that bullshit. Let it go.
That's for sure. Oh, wow.
Oh, that darn dis-ease, huh?
Yes. Oh, boy.
I really like her question, which is very powerful, is what do you see that higher aspect of you? And what came to mind was when I'm usually daydreaming. Because in the daydreaming, where you just get lost, people are like, where were you? I was just talking to you.
Right.
Is where I'm like flying or I'm doing something
unlimited,
way beyond what I normally could physically do. I'm daydreaming about it. And that's that higher aspect. That's it right there for me.
Unlimited being that we are, and that we're not just going to be daydreaming. People are like, you only fly, and I'm like, nah. Well, however it is, I've always, like I said, this idea that we have to leave our body to have these experiences. I think these words do not give service to how how we actually do this. And as Coral, you're sharing, how we daydream, and we'll be flying around in our imagination. I'm like, we really do that, and we're going to be conscious of it. But then generally go, well, where's my body, right? If we're doing things, we're leaving our body behind. And somehow I'm coming to the understanding of sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. What, Michael? It's a physical body.
Beautiful. You said something beautiful, too, there when you said, I'll be able to say whatever it is I want to say. Because that's another part of a daydream that we experience, too. Like you'll be in a conversation with someone, and you'll say what you want them to hear, not your truth.
Right.
You know? And then you daydream on it and you reflect on it, or I reflect on it and think, darn it, I should have said this. You know, how painful or how hard is that to do, to bring it into a reality, to actually do it. So it's like there is an action step that we have to do and move even the daydream, not just our sleeping dream, but our daydream into reality by actually speaking it, saying it, doing it, acting on it.
That's why it's called dreaming truth into reality. That's why I focus on that when we share here in the heart, we are actually co-creating this reality. It's powerful, not just for ourselves, Coral, but we're actually it's shared with all. That's how it flows.
I love Tom Lesher's forecast this past week. He's so funny, you know. He's such a hippie, and he makes me laugh. And I just love to hear him giggle and his corny little poems at the end. But he talked about that we're coming into a time now where we're going to be doing that. We're going to be saying it. We're going to be saying our real truth. We're going to be saying it, and we're not going to be knowing. We're not going to even know where it's coming from, and it's just going to come out like, you know.
Right. That's the kind of energy.
And people are going to be doing it at us, and we're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. And it's like, get ready for it. So it's like, I guess I'm just saying this on the broadcast, get ready, because either you're going to be doing it and they're going to be doing it and we're all going to be doing it, and that's the birthing. And that's we're bringing all that dream into this reality.
Yes, and that birthing is the celebration.
There you go. Wow.
First there was the word.
I wanted to give a quick shout out here. If anyone would like to Skype straight in, the BTR listeners 28. You can go to Blog Talk Radio. You can call in 347-850-1929. Just says I'm here sharing. Go to the YouTube. I'm going to hopefully put up today's sharing on YouTube later today. Get, really here in the kind time and the dream time and get the YouTube videos up. And anyways, it's just more about sharing in the heart. And let's get right back to what you're just tuning. Really, so beautiful, Coral. That what we got here for us. And it was this idea that this notion that we couldn't. Like, you're a kid. That's only a dream, Michael. You can't do that here. Or only if you were rich, Michael. And I'm like, all these things. And I'm like, man, how come those don't even fit that? I'm like, no, it's not only if I was a kid or only if I were rich. It was something else I was seeing, that we were living in a world where we all do get to really express our true divine nature.
It's like that, like children, like being a kid again. We're kids again, and kids always want to know why, or they'll just look at something and ask you that question that, you're not supposed to ask that. And it's like, well, why not, And somewhere along the way, we were silenced, and we can't do it anymore. We just can't. We got to, let it come out. We got to let it come out in our voice and our actions and everything. We got to express ourselves.
Yeah, so in this expression, how we really get to it, and part of this is where silence does come into play, is that we do it. We make sure we're not just talking about it, that we do it. And this was Kerrace's reminder. I can talk about, the new system, or not even system, the new what's coming into being, and still the responsibility I have also is myself. It's like you design the whole system, so to say. You design the whole thing, and then you forgot your own part. And I forgot that. Forgot me in this. And so again, you still have your, fun to have also. It's not work. It's like that's the way we've been. Well, some of the experiences were true. It's all right. It's the way we thought we have to get our currency was through working. That's all. That's the thinking. And that's as always was kind of, that's the way it is. That's the way it's gonna be. And I'm like, I never bought that program. Maybe sometimes, even to the day, I'm like, no, it's done. It's gone. And it's because I don't associate needing to work to express your true divine currency. I'm like, that. And this is what we are now really realizing that we can flow this here. And the more we share that with others who go, yeah, instead of going, what are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? And that we don't have those conversations with people, that we have conversations with people that resonate and add to the conversation now.
There's always been this pressure, too, I feel, more with men to work. You have to work in a certain way, to earn current, and that's the program that needs to be deconstructed.
Yeah.
Because, there is no certain way to work to earn current in, in the world of the higher self.
Right.
It just is. And when I was able to start deconstructing that was when I kind of learned the story. Now, this is kind of like off, but it was a story of Saint Germain. I'm just going to say it now. I'm not too thrilled about a lot of these, ascended masters. They kind of, got me caught up in a crazy New Age little
we are them
world. But the story, his story was so amazing because he never worked. He just kind of floated around. He stayed young. He kept money always flowed. He was an alchemist. He knew how to do just all this stuff, and I was just fascinated with how he was in his life. That doesn't just have to be a man. That could be a model for a lot of men to start learning because of how he did things back in a time when it wasn't even possible, And it may be a fictional story, but I don't think so. I mean, that may not even be his name. They may have just, attached that name to it, But I just feel like kind of how he was operating was like what we're talking about right now is, he was just having fun. He was just creating his own current. He was creating his own timelines. And, it was almost like he was what they would describe as a vampire. He never died. He would show up like hundreds of years later. Oh, there's Saint Germain again.
What I call true living.
What a fascinating story. And that story is us. That story is all of us. But we don't believe it. We want to just give it to that one person He's the one that's going to give us, free all the money and currency to us. No, he's not. It's all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. We forgot.
Right.
So I guess that gets back to my point about we don't have to work a certain way. You don't have to go through indoctrination to earn a certain amount or be at this level or have this much schooling or this and that. That's not how it works. Learn the story of Saint Germain, and that right there will trigger you into remembering. If he did it, then I must have did it too.
Right. And that you can and you are in some ways. You did it and you will again. More.
Yes. Yes. Mhm. Yep.
It's in a way saying each breath you take, we can say, is a gift from nature, and it's a gift from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's magic right there. You're doing it. You just gave yourself air, life.
Mm-hmm.
So money, come on.
Yeah.
But it got inverted. It got externalized. It got to put our currency outside of ourselves instead of realizing it's the divine expression of ourselves in divine source creation.
Everything you need will just pop up in front of you. I know someone personally like that, and I actually asked him to listen in earlier on the broadcast because I've seen him create from nothing over and over and over again. He does it so naturally. And ever since I've known him, he's never had a job.
Yeah, some people really
he just does it. But he still, has a lot to learn because, it's like you go back and forth. You forget, especially when you step in and you start getting around those who feel like that they, in order to do business with me, you've got to operate in this way. No, you don't. He's got something to teach them. I mean, he's taught me, that I've been doing it all along,
Right.
He didn't know it, but it was like, okay, now let me share something with you that there are other people like us around the world, everywhere. And so I'm just so glad that he was able to tune in and hear Kerrace and hear you guys because we're doing it and we don't even realize it. We're doing it every now moment.
Exactly. We're doing it every now moment. So to limit our ability that, well, we can't do it with this or we can't do it with that, it's like, no, you can. Whether it's going to happen for you in this moment, really, if that's your intent and that's what you have for you're choosing to do, there's a little bit. That's one thing. That's a kind of another thing. But your ability and that you're doing it. You're doing it in so many different ways. It's just some ways we've been limited and then projected that over all sorts of other things of ourselves, right? It's like, no, we've only been operating in one kind of area where we've been limiting and having, and then the projection of it made us think that we were more limited than we are, than we were pretending to be. You see what I'm saying? So now, as we're realizing we're not limited, we're doing these things. We are these supernatural beings, and it is happening. And now, certain areas where we want, we're like, well, we focus on the money aspect. Let me just it's like, yes, we can do it in that way too. And love. And happiness. Because if you have the money without the love and happiness, well, hey. But that's about it. Expressing our love and having this flow freely in all ways. So thank you for tuning in, Gaia Sophia Dreaming. Aloha.
Aloha.
So we're in the recording. Just full on. Let's continue on Free Day Friday with this conversation here in the heart, because we're really bringing it into how we're really how we realize we are the co-creators of our universe. It ain't something that we're going to be. It's something we are doing. And how Yeah, and how we can do it even more in the different avenues of our lives, so to say, where we would like to do it. For some, they don't want to. They don't need to, in a sense, create money or to have a lot of money in their life. Some don't need it. And others, there's no judgment here. It's just a different way of expression. We'll have more money in their lives. And we're moving off of that judgment. We're moving off of that so-called more or less. And whatever avenue in your life that you want to flow your true divine nature and express yourself, it's here for us to do. And yeah, just thank you all for tuning in with Gaia Sophia Dreaming, tuning in with me here in the heart. And I'm very, very thankful.
Aloha.
Aloha. So yeah, Coro, Alvita, you guys want to chime in a little bit more, please?
I'm about to flow on. And I'll hear everybody on Free Day.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Beautiful sharing here. Aloha. Much love. Thank you.
Yes. Aloha.